Hi there, come join me and I'll show you a fun idea on how to use the new Mini Delights Time to Celebrate in a fun and original holiday project. See you in a bit. Hi there and welcome to a new episode of Inspired by a Card with Natalie. Today we're going to be working with the new Mini Delights Time to Celebrate set, and this is a great set for a lot of reasons, but we're going to take this card from Kimberly Weiner to create or give us the inspiration for a project that's going to be actually really helpful for your holidays. If you're a card maker, it's going to work great. If you're a memory keeper like I'm a huge December documenter, then it's also going to work great. Because what I'm going to create today is actually one of the covers for one of my albums, and it's a 6x8 album, so it's kind of think of it as an enlarged card panel. So I drove the idea from Kimberly of having different panels. So she has a base that is gold. I'm actually using acetate for mine. Then she has a frame that is actually, I think, blue in her card. I am using metallic brush gold cardstock, which I'm cutting to 6x8. And then I'm going to go one step further and I'm going to cut white cardstock to, I'm going to say a quarter of an inch shorter on all the sides, just so it gives me that base for my layout. So the same idea that Kimberly has on her card, I'm just working with layers and framing for my bigger format. Again, this is a 6x8 cover, and you know what, we're going to work around it. So one of the things that I love about Kimberly's card is that she layer those presents. So I'm going to use the same idea, and I'm using cool tones to create my presents. So I'm using Minty Mint, Dewdrops, and Iceberg as the colors. I want that really cool palette for it. So you're going to see that I'm going to bring the stamps and I'm going to bring the flowers to actually create what I'm going to call my pattern paper or my wrapping paper. So I am using embossing powder and embossing ink and also my translucent pearl embossing powder to actually create my pattern paper. I want the details in the flowers to show up on my cardstock, but I don't want it to be, what's the word I'm going to use? I don't want it to be something that pops. I just want the texture, and I want it to be very subtle, because again, I'm going to kind of like use it as a variation to my pattern paper. I want some of my presents to be plain, and I want some of them to have this small bit of texture, like a subtle pattern. So tone on tone works great for this. So you're gonna see all I did is I stamp my image with embossing ink. I am using translucent pearl embossing powder. This is all from Altenew, and all I'm doing right now is just melting the powder to keep that. And you're gonna see, you barely see it on the Minty Mint cardstock, but when I bring the Iceberg one and I bring the Dewdrops, you actually see the stamping. It creates a little bit, I'm gonna say it gives it a little bit of a darker tone and a little bit of texture, which is what I'm looking for. So now that I have my my pieces ready, I'm gonna go ahead and use the die set and the Mini Delights Time to Celebrate to create my presents. So I'm gonna create presents from the stamped area and also from the plain area. So you're gonna see that I'm just kind of lining everything in place, and then I'm gonna take it to my mini die cutting machine and then get everything cut out. So even though you can see that I'm going to show you just one or two, I think I cut at the end of this around 9 of each of the colors, 9 pieces, so around 27 passes of it. I end up using around 20 of them for this layout. So all I did is just cut the pieces, and then you're gonna see that outside of the camera, I'm just gonna start kind of putting them together. I'm not gluing them. I'm just gonna put them together because I can speed up the process. I need to cut quite a bit of this. So another thing that I did is I cut, like I said, some of it from the stamped paper and some of it from the plain paper. So I had that nice tone on tone and also like a solid look. And that is also going to help me with bringing up the accent, because this die actually creates the bows and kind of the string that ties around your presents. So I wanted to play with white, and I wanted to play with something that brings sparkle. And I did not want to do everything sparkly because it'd be overtaking the whole place, and that's what one of the reasons why I'm using that subtle stamping, so that I can bring a little bit of interest to the presents, on which I'm going to use just the white ribbon and bow, and I'm using the plain presents to bring some of the, I'm going to say, kind of like the glitter. And for that I am cutting the ribbon and I'm going to say ribbon and bows for the presents out of a smoky quartz glitter cardstock. This was just released too. This is 8.5 by 11. You don't see it because I did it outside of the camera, so you're going to see that it's super easy to put this together. I'm going to say that they're very easy to put together, but when you're doing the amount that I did for this, it did take quite a bit, but it's fun. If you're working on Christmas or holiday projects, or if you're working, this works for birthdays, it works for tags, this works for cards, memory keeping layout, it works for a lot of things. So it's actually one that you want to add to your stash. So you're going to see that I have all my ready, and you're going to see that I just pull everything. I had, like I said, I think around 9 of each design, and that's okay. I leftovers, I just put them away and use them somewhere else. So now that I have, like, all my pieces ready, now it's the time to actually build my idea. So I'm going to take advantage of the new nesting triangles that I said. I'm going to use the one that is in the middle, the biggest one, to help me draw a triangle on my white panel, cardstock panel, sorry. So I'm just lightly tracing around the die. I'm not gonna cut it, I'm just tracing around the die, and I'm with a pencil. And you're gonna see that's gonna be a little bit out of focus. It's because I hit the camera by mistake and didn't realize it. So all I'm gonna do right now, and I'm not cutting anything, you're gonna see it, I'm gonna speed it up, is I'm gonna start playing with the presents. I wanna create a mountain of presents in a triangular shape, and I'm gonna put it like, I'm saying it with like a little bit of a wink and a smile, because I'm trying to keep it as triangular as I can. You're going to see that I'm going to play with a lot of the presents. I'm going to swap and switch some of them. I wanted to stay as close as I could to the triangle, but at the same time have a nice mix of the texture pattern paper that I created with the stamp, also with the ribbon. And so it took me a while. This is my, I think this was my second attempt. The first one I kind of just built it to have an idea what it's going to look like, and this one is the one that I'm actually going with a little bit of foam adhesive. I'm using like 3 different, I think you call them widths of foam adhesive, just to make sure that the presents look that they, some of them are popping out. You're going to see that I'm going to tuck some of them, and really the way that I built it is I just wanted to try to keep the triangular face as much as I could, and at the same time make sure that the presents did not just look like a pile on the floor. I just wanted to have like a little bit of a rhyme and a reason to them. So it did take quite a bit of time. It does take a little bit of like, playing around with the presents in this case, just to have the shape. And you're gonna see that even though I think I'm done, I come back. One of the things that I did along the way is bring the big die that I was working with, just to make sure that I have the shape. And it does going to lose a little bit of the shape just because of the nature of the presents. I wanted to, kind of keep it, like I said, as triangular as I could. So you're gonna see that I'm just playing with some of them. I'm playing with the presents. I'm also playing with the positioning of the presents. I want some of the white and some of that quartzy, glittery bows to show up like throughout the page. And I'm actually really happy what it looked like at the end. Like again, it did take some time. I had to in between bring the die just to make sure that it had that triangular face. Had to step back in and out to make sure that it did just not look like a bunch of presents thrown together. I wanted to have like this idea of kind of building a mountain in the shape of a tree, Christmas tree in this case, for the cover of my project. So I'm kind of happy what it looks like right now. You're gonna see that I'm pretty much done. I'm gonna start playing with a few more pieces. Again, even when I stopped recording, I still playing with pieces. And now this when I realized that the camera was like back into focus because I hit it again. So you're gonna see, like I said, I'm bringing the die, making sure that I have that triangular shape. I use foam adhesive in between to attach the pieces. Now I'm gonna bring the stamp set, and I'm going to use the sentiment that says time to celebrate. I'm gonna stamp it at the bottom of the triangle, and I'm gonna put 2024 because this is gonna be my album that documents December of 2024. What I am going to do is I'm gonna use the new glitter cardstock. This is Moonstone, and I'm gonna cut just one of the bows and put it at the very top. I wanted something that was a little bit different from the kind of plain white cardstock. I wanted something with glitter at the top, and then I'm gonna bring some of the metallic gold and silver gem sparkles just to create or bring it a little bit of extra color and pop to some of these bows. But I'm gonna make sure that when I put them, they kind of zigzag through my page, through the tree, so they just gives like a cohesive look to my Christmas tree in this case. Once I have that, I'm gonna go ahead and attach the panel to my gold cardstock. I am using just sticky double-sided tape from Altenew. This is I think the 1/2 inch, so it's nice and sturdy, so nothing is gonna move. Once I have that, I'm pretty happy what it looks like. I actually like the cover. I like the shape. I like the colors. Even though my tree is kind of pink and teal, I still think that I can work with this for the documenting, and I hope it actually gives you a good idea, not just for documenting, for also creating a card. Not just for Christmas, but in this case I give it like kind of a holiday theme for my layout. As always, if you have any questions, you can find more details on the blog, and you can always contact me for any questions. As always, thank you so much for joining me, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you soon, guys.
Wait, we have more where that came from. If you're after fabulous card making tutorials, you are definitely in the right spot. Our amazing design team create and upload fabulous video tutorials right to this YouTube channel. If you don't want to miss another amazing crafting tutorial, don't forget to subscribe and click that fun red button that you can see. Let's become paper crafting experts together.